Hello everyone. Today I would like to build something a little bit different for you. And that is some infrastructure in the form of a bridge. Now I haven't found a good place for it, so that's what I'm doing right now. And once I do, I'm going to start building out the shape and deciding, of course, what type of bridge I want to do. Ooh, this is really cool actually. Huh. Man, this is some awesome terrain. I feel kind of bad building stuff on it, but you know what? I'm going to put a bridge right here. So without wasting any more time, let's figure out what kind of bridge we're going to build and how we're going to build it. Clickety click click, gotta get rid of the floaty bits. There we go. I am satisfied. Ooh, nope, there's more. No, you know what? I'm gonna keep these. I can explain, I swear. It's ugly now, but I think this is necessary in order to help me work out the shape. Now, at first glance, this plan might seem a little bit intimidating, but I swear it's a lot more simple than it looks, said every Minecraft YouTuber ever. But let me prove it to you, and I'm going to go over it in detail, step by step, starting with the first thing I did, which was establishing the direction I wanted this bridge to point, and that is in the yellow. And you can see I went forward 3, sideways 1, forward 3, sideways 1, until I reached the other side. Once I had that shape in, it was a simple matter of deciding how wide I wanted the bridge to be, following the shape with the yellow on the outside, and then tracing it, essentially, with the blue and the red supports. If you see right up here, when we fly up, you can see they line up perfectly with the yellow. So it's all a matter of just trying to make sure everything is consistent and in the proper place. I used sea lanterns for the edges here so it would be easy to count from a distance, and I've turned the random tick speed to 0 so they don't melt the snow. Some of you may be thinking that this breaking it out with random colors and making it super ugly before we even decide a palette is a huge waste of time, and I assure you it is not. If I tried to build this straight out of the box, it would be incredibly frustrating, take 10 times longer, and I would probably get burned out halfway through. The reason that we plan things out like this is to establish a shape and an idea that we can easily follow with the proper blocks once we get to making a palette. This strategy works especially well if it's with something you are unfamiliar with, like I am with bridges. I haven't built many bridges, especially not suspension bridges, which this is going to be, so doing this is a huge benefit to me because it allows me to see kind of how the shape is going to turn out before I attempt to go full detail, because building things on a diagonal and detailing things on a diagonal is very much more difficult than doing things on a straight axis. If I were doing it on a straight axis, this step might not be as important, however I would still do it because, like I said before, this kind of project is a little more unfamiliar to me than most. Anyways, enough about the shape. Let's start replacing these ugly blocks with a more tasteful palette. We can start establishing that and maybe building out some of the side infrastructure that will go on the edges. Make sure this thing isn't floating because that would be awkward. More progress has been made, and I'm super happy with the way it's turning out. My main goal for this bridge is to make it look extremely well traveled, so I'm trying to add lots of wear and tear and places that will be walked upon. For example, here, I've set these detailed stones kind of off to the side and had the andesite dominate the center of the path to kind of make it look like it's being walked on a lot. Speaking of these stones, I love this texture. It's so underrated, I feel. So I thought I would use it today in this build to make it seem sort of like this is a monument with lots of, fancy carvings in the sides, maybe some graffiti, although there isn't really any graffiti here, but maybe we'll add that later on. I'm kind of picturing this as sort of like a bridge between the border of two nations or something, so it's like, it's very heavily trafficked and very heavily guarded, so there's lots of wear and tear and lots of culture clash kind of going on. And that's kind of my idea for this arch over here as well. I want to add some banners to it and make it look extra colorful, maybe make each of the sides, this side and that side, two opposing colors to represent two sides of some conflict that's been going on between the nations this passes between. I don't know. I'm really enjoying kind of thinking of a lore behind this, and I encourage you to think of lores behind your builds too. It helps kind of stimulate creativity, and it makes things a whole lot more fun. Anyways, for the next little bit, I'm going to work on what blocks I want to use for this rope and down here for the support. I'm trying to fit it with the theme, but I also don't want it to look too out of place. I'm trying to make it as wooden as possible while also maintaining some solid stone foundation, if that makes any sense. So I'm kind of wrestling with either do I make this stone or do I make it wood, but we'll figure that out. I'm also trying to decide whether or not I want to keep these trapdoors. Should I have the trapdoors there, or should I not have any trapdoors? I'm not sure. On the one hand, it looks really nice, and it's a nice contrast to the kind of flat texture of everything else, but on the other hand, it's not that even and doesn't really work that well with the angle the bridge is at, as you can tell by this angle. So, I'm kind of wrestling with that. If you want to let me know which you'd prefer, you can, but I'm gonna pick a decision on my own, obviously, because this video is not live. And maybe I'll come back and change it sometime if a bunch of you choose the option that I don't go with. So, we'll figure that out. It'll be fun. And it is done, finally. Now, I have a couple things I want to talk about. The first thing is the supports, the ropes, and the reason why I ended up going with black stained glass blocks, and that's because my usual method for doing ropes is glass panes, and I could also have used fences. However, both of those things on a diagonal look really kind of messy, especially with the 3 up, 1 to the side diagonal we have here. It would just be too busy and would compete with the already busy details of the bridge, and I just didn't want that, so I wanted something that would be as subtle as possible, yet still fit structurally, and I think black glass is the best fit. Now, if you oppose me on this, it's perfectly awesome. I love that. Tell me in the comments, what material do you think would work better? I tried ice as well, because I thought maybe if I thought of lore as if maybe the supports were encased in ice because this area is so cold, I don't know, but it didn't really work. It stood out a little bit too much for me, so I went with the more mundane option of black glass. So yeah, let me know if you agree or disagree with my choice. The second thing I want to talk about are the railings. You see, I've gone for the trapdoors, and you might be thinking, well, I could have put a trapdoor here as well, like that, but I didn't like the way it looked from the inside. It made the path too wide, and I'm not sure. I really like the slabs here, so I thought if I could incorporate them and keep them here, that would look better. So we sacrificed a little bit of consistency for, a better look on path, and I'm pretty happy with my result. Now, for the supports underneath, I originally was going to make it all wood or all stone, and not a combination of the two. However, I tried both of those things, and I thought they were too mundane, they were too single-colored, so I decided to incorporate both of them into this mess you see here with these pillars and the stone, and I think it fits. It definitely matches the theme, and it looks alright. And then I thought it was looking too flat, so I added these little birch bits poking out, and I think it's pretty good. I enjoy it. Anyways, that's about it for this build. I hope you enjoyed, and more importantly, I hope you are inspired to build your own crooked, messy bridges in your own worlds. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will hopefully see you next time on this series or any of my other videos. Take care.